I never thought one sentence would change my life forever. When I look back now, I can still see the exact moment it all slipped away. The moment I said the words, "I'm not ready for love," and he silently decided he would never look at me the same again. Ugh. It was the fall of 2017 in Seattle, Washington. I was 23, fresh out of college, trying to figure out who I was and what I wanted from life. The city was alive with rain, music echoing from coffee shops, and the smell of roasted beans carried by the damp air. I had just started a new job at a publishing house, and everything in my world felt overwhelming and unfinished, like a book with too many missing pages. That's when I met Daniel Carter. He wasn't the kind of man you just notice in passing. Daniel had this calm energy, a kind of steady confidence that made him stand out in a room without ever trying. He was a software engineer, a little nerdy in the way he spoke about technology, but his sense of humor could brighten the darkest day. He had hazel eyes that seemed to read people, and when he smiled, you felt seen, like you mattered. We met at a friend's dinner party. I was awkward, balancing a plate of pasta while trying to make small talk with people I barely knew. He walked in, holding a bottle of red wine, and sat right across from me. Our first conversation wasn't earth-shattering. He asked me about books, I asked him about his job. But something about the way he listened, really listened, made me feel like my words weren't just floating into the air. For the first time in a long time, I felt comfortable with someone. Over the next few weeks, we saw each other more often. Coffee runs, walks by the waterfront, late-night conversations on the phone. He was patient, never pushing me, always letting me set the pace. By December, it was obvious he wanted more. One night, we were sitting at Cary Park, overlooking the glittering Seattle skyline. The Space Needle lit up the night, and the city felt alive in a way that made me want to freeze the moment forever. "Emily," he said softly, "I like you. More than I've liked anyone in a long time. I want this us to be something real." I froze. Because deep down, I was terrified. I had spent years protecting myself from disappointment, from heartbreak, from the messiness of relationships. My parents had divorced when I was 12, and the memory of broken promises lingered in me like a wound that never healed. So I said the words that would change everything. "I'm not ready for love." His face shifted in an instant. It wasn't anger, but it was something heavier, like a door closing. He nodded slowly, looked out at the city lights, and after a long pause said, "Okay, thanks for being honest." We didn't talk much after that. He dropped me off at my apartment, gave me a polite hug, and drove away. I thought we'd pick things back up in a few days, maybe laugh it off. But I was wrong. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Daniel pulled away completely. No texts, no calls, no coffee meetups. I tried reaching out a couple of times, sending him casual messages about a new book I was reading, or asking if he wanted to grab lunch. But he always responded politely, never cold, but never warm either. It was clear he had taken his heart back, and he wasn't going to look at me the same way again. At first, I told myself it was for the best. I wasn't ready, right? I had a career to focus on, friends to spend time with, dreams to chase. Love could wait. But as the months went on, I started noticing the emptiness. Coffee didn't taste the same without someone to share it with. Walks by the water felt lonelier. Even the books I read felt hollow, because there was no one to debate the endings with. I thought I was protecting myself from heartbreak. Instead, I had walked straight into regret. The last time I saw him was almost a year later. I was at Pike Place Market, wandering between the flower stalls, when I spotted him. He was holding hands with someone. A woman with auburn hair, laughing at something he said. And the way he looked at her, it was the same way he used to look at me. That was the moment it hit me. I had let him slip away. Not because he wasn't good enough, not because we weren't meant to be, but because I was afraid. And fear had cost me love. Now, years later, I still think about him sometimes. Not in a bitter way, but in a quiet, reflective way. He taught me something important, something I wish I had learned sooner. Love doesn't always wait for you to be ready. Sometimes, It comes when you least expect it, and you have to choose whether to be brave enough to embrace it. I wasn't. And so he walked away. And he never looked at me again. Reflection. Telling this story isn't about holding on to the past. It's about understanding the choices we make and the weight they carry. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that honesty is important. But so is courage. If I could go back to that night at Cary Park, I wouldn't let fear speak for me. I would tell him the truth, that I was scared, yes, but I was also falling for him. That maybe I wasn't ready for a perfect kind of love, but I was ready to try, because sometimes trying is enough. But life doesn't give you rewinds, only lessons. And mine was clear. Love isn't about timing, it's about courage.